All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I know there's going to be a bunch of people that are still going to keep logging on here. Hopefully, everything works out with their emails getting logged in. And if there's any problems, they can jump on the YouTube page and watch it live there. A lot of people have asked if I played DB, and that's why I was hosting a DB clinic. I have not played DB before. But the great thing about DBs is it's the closest thing to O-line and how closely they've got to work together to get their job done. So I love watching DBs and seeing how they work their communication and stuff. So put together a pretty good group of guys to talk tonight. I'm excited to hear what they've got to say about their position that they coach. And we'll get rolling with the first speaker, Coach Andre Pope. He's the defensive backs coach at Shepherd University. Had the opportunity to work with him in 2013 at Avila University. And Coach Pope, I turn it over to you.
Coach Charbonneau, you're the man, man. I thank you for the invite. Okay, here we go. Can you guys hear me, see me good?
You're all good.
Okay, here we go. All right, my information right here. Again, I thank you for the invite. Coach Charbonneau, great guy, man. One of the all-time best that I've come across. Quickly here, I do have a motto, dogs only. A firm believer in being a pack, something that Coach Charbonneau did mention. We as a unit, coaching both corners and safeties, we had to find different drills and different mottos and different mindsets in order to walk as one unit, to breathe as one. So here, just something short and quick. The pack, somebody that's passionate, accountable, confident, and keen. Somebody that has to, perfect the craft. Every day, different guys they're getting bigger, faster, stronger, and we have to be able to, stay in the hip pocket, so to speak, have to mirror them and, do everything they do going forward. We had to imitate going backwards. So just a few things down low, just arriving early, creating a mindset all the way to having fun. And that's first and foremost. Next here is just some brief information here. Just coming off of last season, we were 10-3, lost in the second round of the postseason. First year actually in the PSAC as Shepherd Rams, first year in it, actually led the league in interceptions. But in this instance, we won't go through, of the INTs. It's the most since 2010. 3 guys, all conference and, and so forth. Going forward, just prior to me getting to Shepherd, this is 2017. Stats looking at, I was actually still at Avila University, received a phone call to come about. In 2018, I arrived as a cornerbacks coach. And then we pretty much sliced everything in half, got greedy and really dug our toes into the sand, so to speak. In 2019, we took another step, just taking away the football. I believe that's something that enabled us to, win a few more games. Just creating a few more possessions for our stud at quarterback and everything like that. Musical chairs, I did mention that on the side. One thing about that, we had 9 different starting lineups. So it was the next man up mentality. We had, freshmen, sophomores, and then guys is older guys who did not see the field. So it's important that everyone must take the field each and every day with the mindset that, I could be next. So Urban Meyer most recently said, just to keep the room humble is competition. Okay, all the way down to Mr. Darwin here, survival of the fittest. You have to be able to adapt. If not, you'll be lost in the sauce. So looking on the right here, just 3 lineups were the same, all, throughout our 13 games and 2 consecutive. And that was just in the postseason, first and second round. So again, it was it was definitely competition. And then there was a few curveballs thrown in there beginning in camp. So we lost a starter corner, and we lost starters in and out of rotation. So it was the next man up, definitely. Going forward, a guy here that I had the opportunity to work with Was with the Redskins and then ended up with the Guardians in New York. Played corner for me, stout guy, and then going forward here, it went from one corner to now 3 defensive backs being all conference. And then our region here, we're both guys, one corner, one safety, 2018, now 2019. Okay, and then, let me see. You guys follow? Did I lose you?
No, you're good.
Okay, here we go. All right, so now just jumping into some EDD, some everyday work.
You going for your video right now, Coach?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, hit screen share on it.
All righty, 1 second. Oh. Did I lose it? Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. All righty. Got me?
Oh, yeah, you're good now.
Okay, sorry about that. All right, jumping into the EDDs. My information is here. I'm wide open. I'm eager to learn. I do not have all the answers. That's something that, you know, I thrive off of. I love to learn, love to communicate, converse with different guys, you know, just different rhyme and reasons. So just the daily footwork we do, starting with a speed pedal. I've worked at Alabama, not directly under Nick Saban, of course, but you know, multiple camps. The last 3 years, Clemson about 5 years, as well as University of Georgia. So we start off with the speed pedal, getting everything, you know, in the groove here, pushing off front foot, you know, low hips, and cutting grass. Not too many, you know, as you see here, let me see, it's 38 here, feet real high. You need to be able to keep it slow, keep it low to the turf, so to speak. So you can get in and out of the break here. Moving forward, we have the man weave here that we'll jump right into, and that's just staying. Let me see here. It's pretty choppy. Okay.
No, you're good.
Okay, good deal. So the man weave here. So we'll go sideline the hash and everything we'll do. We'll split it up, safeties and corners. We'll split it up half and half. We'll split it up, veterans and young bucks at the beginning of the camp. You know, just getting a good look. But weaving on and off the line, staying tight to your man. Next, we'll jump straight into the zone weave. We'll actually push 5 yards and really push off of that outside foot, not the old school steer with your butt, but shoulder square, push off that outside foot and finish square here. And we'll begin everything with a scooch. So on the way down, we'll scooch once. On the way back, we'll scooch twice. And again, it's pivotal for, you know, both safeties and corners. Fishtail, this time we'll actually open up. We'll run it at 135, open up. And the reason we're opening up here, we're anticipating quarterbacks long arm coming off the football. So therefore, we're backing the pedal and boom, we're out the break. We're supposed to keep our eyes back, looking at quarterback. Okay, here we're anticipating the football. Next, we'll jump into 2 bursts and we'll stay on the line here, just opening those hips up. Keeping everything underneath of us. No wide feet, no wide base. Keeping everything fluent. Gotta have great hips in order to play this position, as we all know. After that, we'll go to the small W, and this is just plant point drive. This is stick drive, 1 yard. Okay, we'll break 3 times. On the third one, we're finishing through on a great break. Next, we'll expand it a little bit, and this time we only go 2 breaks. So we'll go to big W. Okay, so now you're just getting back to 5 yards and driving through the football. This time we actually put a football in there. The first one is just to put a foot fire, wake the body up, You know, we want to come out those blocks, so to speak, just like a 100-meter dash. So we'll actually get some starts, and that's what they are. So now we're actually running through the football, finishing through, and the next guy won't go until the ball is actually caught. Just finishing there, same drill. Okay, so now we'll get into the reaction to scoop. We'll begin with a shuffle, and on this we'll go 2 guys out, and we'll shuffle 90 degrees. Shuffle 90 degrees off of my indicator. Plant point drive, come downhill, low hips, bending at the ankles, knees, and hips, identifying the football, whether it's over top like a shortstop or from the side. And this is pivotal. You may get one your entire career, it might be in practice, might be in the game, might be multiple times, but you don't want to mess that up. So now we're actually opening up at 90 here. Open up, finish back pedal, and then downhill to 0, depending on where the ball is at. Either down at the 0 or down at the 45. Scoop and score. See the ball all the way in. And so this next clip here, near safety on near hash, number 5 coming downhill, is actually a game clip. And it's a scoop and score. One opportunity. It's the only one all season we had. And he cashed in on it. Same drill. Okay, and just a few more clips here, just to open 90. And again, you can take them all the way to the line, 5 yards each direction, or you can make it very quick, depending on time and depending on how long you've actually been doing it. But we'll do these drills, even tackling. We'll do these drills. These are Tuesday, Wednesday type drills, shells, full equipment, and game day. So again here, just in the phone booth here, we'll meet at the 0 point, 1 yard off, and we'll drive for 5. We're grabbing cloth, grabbing numbers in the back of the back of the jersey, trying to grab that neck, open them hips up. We do all those hand cleans and power cleans. You see a lot of guys leave their hips behind them. So in this case right here, quick whistles, everything is on my indicator here, blowing a whistle for the start and stop. That time was a stalemate, and we don't want to get anyone hurt. So here, the wrap wasn't good on this rep right here, but he went ahead and drove for 5. So, we allow that to happen. Sometimes the whistles are quicker than the others. And here, if you're not ready, you will get hit. All right. Good here. And then we'll move on to angle tackling. Same drill. And this time, we're safeties and corners, us DBs, we're used to, playing games on angles. So as you see here, I'm an old school guy. I'm a head across, not so much head behind. We do practice the rugby style, but if possible, I want the motor stopped. I want the head across, squeezing the life out the football, bite the ball, and drive for 5, opposite direction. And we'll actually go both ways. We'll go through all of our angles, and then we'll switch ball side. Here again, driving for 5. Great strikes, both sides. And this really weeds out the guys. A lot of guys like to talk at the meetings. A lot of guys like to talk, saying they can hit. Some are finesse, and it'll weed itself out. And then you'll see the growth. As far as guys who were very timid at first, now, okay, I was hit and I didn't like it. I had the football, so now I get a turn to strike. That's that. And okay, so moving on. All right, so we got to practice what we preach. This here is in an article in the first round of the playoffs. So as you see here, the last 2 weeks, he broken up. This individual here broke 7 passes up in 2 weeks. Then skipping all the way down to where he even said, practice, practice, practice. And then his interception was ideal. It was identical to what, we went over different scenarios through the preparation. So now when we actually between those lines with the band wanting to play, we're going to stop that. They have opportunity to hit the rewind button instead of, seeing a whole different picture. So we really emphasize, attacking the ball. You have to attack the football. Previously, I felt like we were too conservative. We wanted to, make the tackle and not come out the break of anticipation, knowing the route is coming. So here, just going into the shoot. So we'll actually progress here. I just wanted to go forward and speed things up. So as you see here, off man and or zone. Okay, we could cap the route being a safety and or a corner here, and they curl up in front of us. We're gonna drive down to the zero. So the football is already in the receiver's hand, so to speak, and we'll keep two balls in each side. Okay, so now we're driving through. We're actually going to shoot. Okay, so now the ball can end up. Okay, the ball placement could be, at the eyes, at the knees, at the chest, away from the body, either direction. So what we have to do is identify the football first. We'll look at near hip and upper body violence. So our eyes is in inside knee. Okay, that knee was probably going to bring us to hip level. I don't start at the hip wide because if you start eyes on the hip, your eyes will end up at the chest and elbows and everything you don't need to look at. So therefore, we got two different scenarios here. We'll start on the left side up top on the 20-yard line. This individual here got his feet underneath of him, anticipate the route, come down and shot the football. Everything is a shoot. Versus 23 here on the right, okay, on the 25-yard line, we're guessing here. The feet gets wide outside of our frame, and now they have to get back underneath of us in order to drive a zero. And as you've seen, it's, oh man, he got me. He got me on the curl route. It don't matter if you get got. I want you coming out the break, identify the football, and shoot. Got to shoot. And by shoot, I don't mean a swat. We don't say swat because that is time taken up. If we shoot the hands, okay, so right now there's two hands on the football. We'll start with on the 20 again on the left side. This time's another curl. It's a shot right there. He's shooting his one hand. He's shooting his inside hand, right? Left arm is going to secure the tackle. He's shooting that right hand through the football, through both of his hands, okay? And now moving over on the right side here, we actually got a fade route, okay? Us as coaches, we'll send different routes. If we don't want to see curls and outs all day, different slants, we'll send a fade because a guy sitting on a route, he's cheating the drill. So now you got to wait on the receiver's indicator, both hands in the air. He's reaching for the ball, and the ball is now caught. And as you see here, we're reaching for that outside wrist. One hand catches are caught in this case, in this scenario here. One arm catches are caught by this left arm. We want to reach for that. We want to take away that wrist. Okay, we want to go through the football, grabbing that wrist and reaching for that. We want to break that wrist, not the near arm, because that outside arm will cradle the football. Okay, here on the left side again, we got a little comeback scenario. Ball is inside, quarterback is inside. Number 5 here again, he gets his framework. He gets his feet outside of his framework. Oh, he got me. But what I do love here, love is finishing. Gotta finish. Finish. You're not going to anticipate. You're not going to be on top of every single route. But what we got to do is finish. And that's through the football, that's shooting. Okay, on the right side here, okay, we have an out route. We have an in route, in breaking route. So now we cap the route. We're downhill to 45 right now, and we're shooting with that near arm. Shoot the football. And that's a great rep there. Again here, the left side, he's out the frame. My cameraman didn't get me here, but on his right side. So before 23, he gave up because he got, so to speak, on a curl route. So now he got his feet underneath of him. Boom, plant point drive back to our W drill, and we're shooting hands. That time it was a semi swat. By a swat, I mean the hand goes up and then down. We need that thing to go straight, locking the arm out, punching that football with an open hand. Another scenario here, we got an in-breaking route to the left, and which we'll get into here is a rip. Okay, so now again, in-breaking route on this left side. So now here, we're too far away from the football. The ball is already caught. So in this sense, we cannot shoot the football. So what do we have to do? We had to secure it with the left hand, and now we have to rip. We're going to rip this right arm. We're going to rip it out of socket, and you see that fence back there? We say it all the time. We got to rip it out of socket and throw it over the fence. Cannot be nice, because if you end up, if you're nice here, you end up on somebody's huddle highlight, and that's not what we want. So you got to be aggressive here. And now over here on the right side, 31, as you see here. So now he doesn't get him off his mark. Okay, so we have to widen this fade route out. Okay, sometimes the routes are better than others. So now we have to wait on the indicator. He can run them all the way to the opposite hash. Wait on indicator. Why? Because we're in phase. We're in an advantageous position. So now, okay, so now we're feeling we should be here with the right, and I would love to shoot with the left here, but we do not get that. Okay, so now what I call a swat is he's going from an unsecure position, right, to truly swiping the football. Okay, try to stay away from the term swat. So he's going from here, secure to unsecure with this swipe here. So now if he does not get this football, this ball is caught here and the band is playing. Okay, so we would prefer either a glove, which will, that's for another time, or here just shooting with that left hand. All right, so now we'll go to this left side again. And now we got a guy who thinks he's Kyrie Irving, Allen Iverson. All right, so now we get in those, those battles, those meetings, so to speak. I can't wait to get you back. And again, as DBs, we thrive off of that. We're foaming out the mouth. Can't wait to line up against him. So now he gives him a little shimmy, a little in and out. But 24 here, now this is game reps. Again, we're driving down at a 45. At a 90, we'll be late to the party. That's a completion. So now we got to put that foot in the ground and we're going to drive that 45. And so here again, the first time you'll see, he truly tries to shoot that. But again, he's out. The ball is further than what he can reach. Okay, so now we'll have to go into a rip. All right, so now it has to be a violent rip though. Tries to shoot it, doesn't get it. So now he has to actually take that right arm again, rip it out of socket and throw it over the fence. All right, now next here, 14 on the right. This time we get the same type of route. Boom, in breaking route, and we're driving at a 45 there. I would love for him to be a lot more aggressive here again. So here, you'll see arm go up and then through it. I need it through. I need that shoot. You got to shoot it. You got to be aggressive there. And these drills, it cannot be, a nice guy, so to speak. And this is the last one we'll show here, and then we'll actually get into some film to where it actually translates. Now this rep right here, number 5, this is a beautiful rep. Okay, he capped the route. He's on top. Boom, plant point drive. We're down at the 45. And we're shooting through that. It's a shoot. It's a shot. We're shooting through both of those hands. Shoot. All right. So now this will turn into some practice. Okay. So now again, we cap the route. We're on top, and there's a shoot. It's a beautiful shoot right there. This right arm is shooting the football. Again, if we were to swat the ball, if we were to swat it, that's the difference between the completion and the pass breakup. All right. Moving forward, another in-breaking route. These are routes that we see in our drills, okay? Now, the difference is they already have the football in our drills. Now, here we're actually on top, and it takes time to get from point A, quarterback's hand, to point B in the receiver's vicinity. And we feel like, we're boxed out here. We already go over those scenarios, so it's nothing new to us again. So we're shooting here, this time with the top of the tree. Free safety here, top of the tree, driving down, boom, turns into a 45, and we're shooting that. Wherever his hands are, we're going through that with a shot. We're shooting. Okay, and then we'll go over to the cornerback position. All right, so now we're in an advantageous position. We're winning. We're on top. We're in phase with them. So now only thing we'll do here is throw the football. We're waiting on it. So now we'll shoot that. Where is his hands? His hands are behind us at the hip. So now that's a shot. We're shooting that. Okay. Now the difference is, I say a glove, right? A glove is anything a little higher. Again, we'll touch on that at another time. But here, we're shooting at wherever his hands are. Again, we start with no ball, and then we get into a football. So now, when the bullets are flying, we're great. We're ahead of the curve here. And as you see, it's 3rd and long. We cap the route. As soon as his hips sink, we're coming out of our break, and everyone's excited. We're shooting. Now, again, I have a 4-year-old daughter. I have a 2.5-month-old daughter. And my 4-year-old can do this. Anyone and everyone can take this drill with them from Pop Warner. And not going to step on toes and say, NFL should do it, but, it works. If you're looking for a drill that works, past breakups, yes, you're going to have numerous ball drills. But again, here, everything translates. We're on top of the route. We're sitting here and we're driving. That we're in phase, and now we're shooting hands. Now, again, 31, he as you remember here, if you want to go back to at the beginning of the tape, he's a swipe guy, right? So again, I say he's a swipe guy. Why? Because he took his unsecure arm, right? He took his unsecure arm and used that. I'm sorry, he took his secure arm and used that. So he went from, if he does catch it, making that for sure tackle to, okay, I'm gambling here. I'm taking my right arm here, and I'm a swipe that instead of truly shooting it. Okay, again. Now, in a great position, boom, receiver sticks his foot in the grass, comes back to the ball, and the ball is caught. Only difference is we practice this. We practice a caught football to shoot hands. Doesn't matter where the ball is. It could be outside of the frame. It could be underneath. It could be at the knees. It could be wherever. We're going to shoot hands. Wherever that ball is, we're shooting. Here you'll see from the tight. Boom, ball is caught. Ball is caught. Ball is caught, and then it's not. Because why? Because we shot the football. Here it's a little blurry, but here, we're in this hip pocket. Here from the tight, it's a little cleaner. A little cleaner here. Boom. We're in phase, and we're looking to shoot. No pass interference, no nothing. No unneeded, physicality there. And down here at the bottom, Max Pro taking a shot. We're not going to panic. Why? Because we do this. Again, if you want this scenario, okay, you switch it up a little bit, just like we did on a fade route, right? You get by the cornerback, the safety, and you run your vertical route. The football is already in your hand. As soon as he extends his hands, right, then you shoot the football. So therefore, again, 40 yards downfield, there's no panic in this. All right, so now we're getting into some game reps. Up top, we've already seen this before. There's no panic in this. No panic. Again, there goes. We're going to shoot. We're in phase here. Looks back. We look back because we want the football, right? And now he go to rollover. It's not a speed turn. I don't call it a speed turn because we don't have a lot of grass, right? So his corners here, boom, we're in phase. We look back, 15 looking lean. We're good there. Now here comes a rollover because the ball is not to me. I got to make an adjustment. So when that happens, right, we're shooting the football, shooting the hands. Just from the tight view here, speed it up a little bit. Tight view here. Again, boom, it go to rollover. We're confident, roll over. Okay, I can't get that pick. So now, boom, I'm going to shoot. I'm going to shoot my left hand through that. And if I don't get it clean, now I'm bringing both. Down here, the bottom of the screen. Corner. Boom here. Closing space. Take the air out the hip. And here, we've already done this before. He sits down, I sit down. Boom, there goes the shot. I'm shooting hands. Now, if I came out of my break, I possibly could have picked this off. But I stuck with him and peeked back. And on that peak, guess what? The football was coming. So therefore, okay, let's get back to what we know and go ahead and shoot this right hand. Skip that. Okay, so now here, boom, we actually had a guy jump off sides here, 45 up top on the right. So there's no panic though. No panic. Guess what? Green catches this football, it's 6 points. So therefore, we got to play ball. We got to play ball. We're foaming out the mouth for these scenarios here though. And there it is. As you see here, this left arm again. Left arm is up. It's a straight arm. He's shooting, right? If I don't get the football, I'm going through that outside hand, that right hand of his, and we're matching that. We're matching it, and we're feeling good about it. We're feeling good. Here goes the whole play from, for whatever reason, it was flipped. But here goes the wide shot. Down here, just got a quads open look. And so now it turns into a press bell. Okay, because here goes a rollover. The ball's not to me, and we're matching hands here. We're shooting. Shoot, shoot, shoot. My left on his right, and I'll break his wrist if he decides he wants to hold on to this football. Okay, here up top in the red zone. Does it work in the red zone? Yes, sir. And yes, ma'am, whoever's listening. All right, so we'll match here. We're motoring out, and we're taking air out the hip, and we're in phase here, and boom. Wherever his hand is, we're matching. Simple as that. I'm taking my left, I'm matching his outside. If I can't get to the ball. Now, what you don't see here is, I'm gonna be honest, they call PI here. I still haven't seen. I probably watched this clip probably 333 times. Still haven't seen any PI. All right. Long story short, play ball, play ball. I believe receiver has his left arm wrapped around us. We got to fight through that. But here, as you see here, you probably can't see it too strong. But again, we're matching our left through his hands. And if we don't get the football by then, we're breaking wrists. We're going through to the opposite hand. Up top here, again, you got a little glance or a slant here, however you want to identify it. A little slant flat here. And we're excited about it. We're excited. We're shooting that. We're shooting that. Speed it up here. Boom, we're shooting that. Again, went from out of phase and in phase. So let's shoot. Up top, we cap the route. We see this every day. Boom, here comes the out route. Receiver sinks his hips here. Here comes a shot. We're shooting. Left hand. We getting on him. We sink. He sinks, we sink. Now we're shooting. Moving on. Up top now, this we'll get into a rip here. We'll get into a rip. Just in case the ball is caught, it's up top, solo, 3x1. So now we're in phase. And what we'll do is I'll get you to the tight view here and get you a better view. All right, so now the ball is high, right? So now we got to get back. We got to take the air out the hip. But what you'll see here is football is already out here. But what you'll see is the drill will kick in, second nature. Why? Because we do it all the time. If we cannot get to the football here, we're securing the tackle, and we couldn't shoot it. So therefore, we're getting ready to rip. We're getting ready to rip this right arm, right? We're getting ready to rip the arm. It's near arm. It's near here. Why? Because the sideline's over there. If he falls, he's out of bounds. So now we're ripping that. We're looking to rip a arm. If we can't get to that outside arm, we got to get something. We got to have insurance. We got to rip that arm out of socket, toss it over the fence. Now we're in the slot here. Give us a little pivot here, a little whip in the slot. Okay, out of phase, got to get back in phase. And again, what we do, if we can't get to that other arm, we can't shoot it, can't get to that upfield arm, we got to rip something. We got to rip something. So we'll pull this right arm away from, and it's got to be violent. Got to be violent. It's got to be enough to whereas if he don't drop the football, he has to go down. All right, in the slot again. Number 3 up top in the slot. So this time, switching leverage. Again, just like we do in our drills. So now we cap the route. Here we go. Can I slip this? Can I slip it? Possibly pick it off? Nah, I can't. So what I have to do, I have to shoot. I have to shoot my gun here. Shoot that inside arm. Up top here, I think we got maybe 3 more clips here, and we'll jump off. I'll take any questions. Up top here. Now, what I dislike is all DB coaches here. We open up the gate here for whatever reason. I don't know why, but it was a brain fuck. So then we get back in phase. We were out of phase, get back in phase. Here comes the 2-hand push, which will never be called. Never. I'm hoping for one, but will never be called. So now there's no quit in us. That dog has to come out by any means necessary. He cannot cross that line with the football in his hand. So therefore, I'll take the push and one, and we're looking for something here. Now we got to swipe here. I don't have anything secure. So now I got to swipe something. I got to get the ball out by all means necessary. I don't have an arm here in this battle to secure a tackle. So now I got to go from secure to unsecure, which means swipe. 2 clips left here. Up top, again, backside, boom, we cap the route, and we're there again. If the ball is not perfect, we can defend it. Only thing we can't defend, right, is a perfect pass. Everything under the sun, we're going to defend it. All right, cap the route, and we go ahead and drive that. All right, down here again in the red zone. Boom, here, what we got to do? We got to take our arm. We have to have some insurance here. All right, so now, boom, we're in phase. Get back to the hip. No panic in us. And so now we'll take that secure arm, right? Only way he can one-hand it is at that right arm. So now we'll rip this out of socket and try to throw it over the fence. In this case, it's over the building there, over the field house. All right. And that pretty much wraps everything up. Any questions at all, Coach?
Yeah, guys, if you have any questions, just feel free to unmute yourselves and go ahead and ask it. I like how effortlessly those guys make that happen, Coach. Pretty nice.
Yes, sir. It's definitely translated, man. It's definitely a drill that, I feel that anyone can take advantage of.
What guys might not know is that when we worked together in 13, is you were a really skinny dude, and then we started working out, and then you got to the way you are now. I'll take credit for that.
Yeah, I gotta take my hat off to you, Coach. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he coaches DBs, but he looks like a Mike linebacker. So
I can't put the sweets down, man.
So there's no questions right now. So I appreciate you jumping on and doing that. That was awesome. Stop the screen. There we go. Appreciate you jumping on and presenting there. That was great stuff. And what we'll do is you guys have your contact info. If they have any questions, reach out to Coach Pope anytime. I'm sure he'll help you out with whatever you're looking for. So next up, we got Coach McGraw from Sam Houston State University. Coach McGraw has many hats. He's wearing a lot of hats at that school. So he's the corners coach, pass game coordinator, and the special teams coordinator. So he's going to jump up and he's going to talk about DB play. So go ahead, Coach. It's all yours.
All right, Paul. Appreciate you putting this together and allowing me to come on and speak to these guys. Coach Pope is actually taking a lot of information that I'll be talking about. A very similar stuff that I'll be talking about. Hopefully, I can put my little niche on it to help you guys out. Let me share my screen real quick with you guys. To start off, guys, this is my family. Obviously, the picture in the middle is my wife, my daughter, my son, and the kids on the outside, the guys that I coach here at SAM, who've done an unbelievable job in regards to taking the coaching with what we've done here and what we do in our system. We're at FCS level. We play a ton of man, a lot of single high man stuff. So what I'll be talking about the majority of the time will be man coverage. I'm not going to read this stuff, word for word. It's there for kind of for you guys to see. But the biggest thing is for me as a coach is trying to develop these guys into quality leaders, both on and off the field. Obviously, we all know as coaches, you're teaching guys football, but those lessons that you teach them in football definitely go hand in hand with life. Great players with strong work ethic or great work ethics are going to help you win a lot of football games. It's our job as coaches to try to keep up to date on techniques and different coaching trends. And I like to believe that I do a pretty decent job of trying to keep up with those new techniques to help our guys to be technicians on the field. And then obviously our main thing is the secondary is to be a great defensive unit. And we know a lot of what happens in the secondary the success that we have in the secondary falls on how much success we have as our the success we have as a defensive unit falls on how much success we have as a secondary. Some of the core values I believe in, guys, just being tough and physical as a defensive back. We do a lot of pressing at the line of scrimmage. So our main goal and objective is to dominate the line of scrimmage and then play to the echo of the whistle. Our defensive coordinator does a great job of making sure we as coaches communicate the message of swarming to the football. Because swarming to the football is going to allow you to create a lot of takeaways and create a lot of big plays on the defensive side of the ball. And one of the things I love is guys who love to compete, have pride in what they're doing, and then at the same time are able to stay composed and poised throughout the game. And as a defensive back coach, I think if you keep rules simple, you stay consistent, and keep everyone accountable, you'll never be questioned in your coaching. My teaching progression is to draw stuff up as far as PowerPoints on the grease board to show it to those guys so they can visually see it, to obviously then communicate it with them, to test them as far as learning from the scheme. And then we do it's walkthroughs, but we call it run throughs because we want guys to constantly be moving fast. Then we rep it and practice and whatnot, and then we repeated everything. As a defensive back coach and just a coach period, I think if you go through either spring ball or fall camp, you need to always have something where kids can see how they are being productive. This also helps in regards to a kid ever questioning why such and such is getting more playing time and why he's not getting as much as those guys. You pull this up, you show them, well, here are the reps you're taking. These are the completions that you're giving up when you're being targeted. We're not big on passing yardage because I'll be honest, and you'll see later on in the stats, we're really good up front. We held teams, I think, to less than 70 yards rushing. So teams with, I think they ran 900 plays against us last year. 600 something of those plays were pass plays because they could not run the football. So what we look at is passing yards per attempt and then passing yards per completion. And that's how we kind of judge kind of where we are and compare to other teams and who we are as a defense. Every coach needs to have one of these, just a list of your drills, just to make sure you're staying organized. You're hitting all the different types of drills that you need to hit throughout fall camp, spring, and then obviously the season. So you can always go back and what I also have is a checklist. And so I will have my intern. He does my individual, but he'll go through and if I'm looking at us not doing something well, whatever, be tackling or open field tackling or, playing the ball in the receiver, I'm going to look back at when the last time we did those individual. And if it's 2 weeks ago, then I'll make sure that we hit it up to get better at it. This is what I kind of mentioned last year, 2019, we had probably one of the better defenses I've ever coached in my life. A lot of it had to do with our players. A big part of it, I think, also had to do with our coaching staff on the defensive side of the ball. My first year in coaching, it was in high school right after I got done playing in college. And I coached with a lot of guys who we went to the same college, and some of us were 10 years older than the others. A couple of us were playing on that same team, but we meshed really, really well together. And we had in 2 years, we were 23-1. We played unbelievable on both sides of the ball. And it hit me again this past season that we had great players, but at the same time as a defensive staff, we meshed really, really well together. And I think that helped in regards to how we did statistically this past season. But getting into some of the drill work, and this again pertains a lot to man coverage. This is a drill we call the piano drill that we will start with before every single practice. It's just working on foot quickness. You have the DB tapping his feet, going backwards, going on and off the sideline. So he's trying to tap 2 times on the green, tap 2 times on the white, and repeat over and over until he gets 5 yards. You're throwing the ball out to make sure his eyes stay up and he's not looking down at the ground, because their eyes and feet have to work independently of each other. The next drill we'll do is we'll go lateral. So now, again, they're just going just like you'd be playing a piano. You're going down the sideline, tapping your feet on and off that white line. And it's about foot quickness. It's about keeping your eyes up and being able to move lateral. So we'll go down left and then we'll come back to the right doing this drill. 2-line drills. One of the drills that will work simply just to loosen up our hips. And here we have, I always start my guys off telling them what lead foot I want. So I either say left foot lead or right foot lead. So we make sure we're pushing off on both sides. And we're not always just pushing off our left foot, or not always just pushing off our right foot. So it's just the same drill there. Here's an example of it in 101. So you have this DB now backpedaling. You see how he has to open up his hips, and the receiver's giving him double moves, so he has to transition back to that vertical route. And I'll talk a little bit more about this later, but we do a lot of, when we get in that vertical position, of having body presence on the receiver and actually keying through his near shoulder. So he's on top of him, and he's guessing now that it was a double move. So obviously the only place they're going to throw the ball is vertical. So he's guessing it and becoming the receiver. But if it was, and we'll get to a little bit later, so I'll wait for that. The next drill we have here is what we call a stem drill. And what we do for the stem drill, and I started doing this probably about 5 or 6 years ago, and it was, I played safety, and as a safety, you're always taught to scooch. But when I was playing corner, I was always taught to backpedal. Well, now I've gotten in a position where I coach both safeties and corners the same technique. And because we are a big press team, we like taking away the air from the receivers. We want to constantly have tight coverage. So we will play scooch technique, and which we call challenge man, on the perimeter with our corners also. So for right now, this is actually a left corner playing inside leverage. So we're saying the balls to the defensive backs right. So the kid in the blue, this kid here is actually the quarterback. And in this drill, what you want is you want this guy to stem him or push vertical. And what we do in our scooch technique is we read the release of the receiver. This first one, this receiver is going to push vertical. So when we have our lead foot up, what we're doing is we're pushing off that lead foot, gaining ground with our trail foot. And then as that guy eats up our toes or runs up our toes, we'll flip and run with them, maintaining that leverage. So here, like I mentioned, we're reading the stem of that receiver. Now the receiver stems us inside. The majority of the time, if a receiver has a normal split and he stems you inside, he's going to cut it short. So he's either running a slant, a dig, a curl. So the progression that we teach for our guys is to see that stem. And as you see that stem, you match it working lateral. So as you see, he has his left foot up as his lead foot, because right now we're saying the ball is over here. He has his right foot back. And as that receiver stems in, he's going to work flat with them and continue to read his release. If it stays in or he breaks in, he's obviously driving to it. If he stems in and then starts to push vertical again, then that's where, as long as he's maintained his leverage, he'll continue to turn that back into a vertical scooch. So here you can see the kid's running a dig. So the DB does a good job of maintaining that leverage. Then he gets pushed vertical again. So he starts a vertical scooch to maintain the cushion that he needs. And the biggest thing this does, guys, is it gives the illusion to the offense that you're playing soft coverage, but at the same time, you're going to end up being 3 to 4 yards closer to a receiver when he breaks on a hitch or he breaks on a slant to make a play on it. In regards, a lot of times you just play a straight pedal. I mean, you're going to be driving. It's only going to be a tackle that you could possibly get. So here you go. We got a 1-on-1 rep. He scooches, he lines, or he steps inside with the stem, and the kid breaks off on a slant. And now you can see the defensive back's in position to pick the ball off instead of just making a tackle or a pass breakup. Here we go again. I think we're gonna get a slant again. The receiver does I guess you're calling that a skip release. A skip release. And as we watched film, we knew when they skip release, they were running inside routes. So the kid's able, again, to match the release, staying flat, anticipating and knowing that he's probably going to get a slant. And now he's in position. And if he actually got his eyes up, the kid would have picked the ball off and would have been a pick six. But he gets in position where he's driving to that outfield shoulder of that receiver because his eyes are on the receiver. And what we'll teach guys is when they're in that slant position or in that position to break on a slant or in breaking route is to just try to rip that back arm because it'd be impossible for that guy to try to catch that ball with that inside hand only. All right, here, I believe it's going to be a vertical route. So we got the left corner. Or no, here's a hitch. So sorry. So again, he's scooching out, reading the stem of that receiver. It's a vertical stem. The kid drops his hips. And now when he plants and drives, he's only about 2 yards away from the receiver. Whereas if he was in a normal pedal, the kid might be back here about 5 to 6 yards away from gaining ground. Here we'll have a vertical release. So the kid's running vertical. So again, this kid's giving ground. He's scooching out, pushing off that lead foot, gaining ground his trail foot. He feels that he's running a vertical route by his demeanor and also, by his demeanor. So he opens up and he runs. He gets in position where, and we'll talk more about how we're finishing on balls, but he gets body position on the receiver while reading that guy's inside shoulder. So he knows the ball's not going to be back shoulder fade, so he can get prepared to play the ball being thrown in front of that receiver. Hip drop drill. What we do with this drill is this is where we've gotten in position. We're running with the receiver vertical, so we're filling them out with our near hand. We're keeping our eyes on that shoulder, so our hand is feeling when his hips drop, and we're just matching and reacting to that guy dropping his hips while looking at that shoulder to make sure we know, well, if the ball's going to be thrown back shoulder, if the ball's going to be thrown in front of that receiver. This is essentially the same drill. They're just coming back at us. You get a little better feel or view of that defensive back and where his eyes are and where his hand is. So here we are in 1-on-1s. You get an outside release. You can see his right hand gets up on that receiver to fill out his body to know if he's going to drop his hips. And then as soon as obviously he drops his hips, he's able to feel that and then now start driving down the receiver. And he actually does a really good job of bursting to pick this ball off. Here's another rep here in 1-on-1s. He has presence enough to get this receiver to really widen his release. But as you can see right here, he's putting that left hand, because it's a vertical release, on that receiver while maintaining his eyes on that inside shoulder. So his hand is letting him know the hips are dropping, and then his eyes seeing that shoulder open, allowing him to understand that ball is going to be thrown behind him. So he's got to be able to plant that right foot and start driving back down to finish the route. All right, cheetah drill. This is a drill that we do, again, to get our guys to loosen up their hips and then start to get in a position where they have to get their eyes to a receiver's hip as he's running vertical. So what I'm doing here is I'll have them buzz their feet initially, and then I'll point a direction. Both of them will start to run the direction I'm pointing. I'll do it 2 or 3 times, and then what I'll end up doing is pointing up. When I point up, whichever side they're going, that lead guy becomes a receiver, the trail guy becomes a defensive back. So now this kid knows he is rolling in to become the receiver. So I got to get my eyes at near hip and start to work in a position to get body presence on that receiver. All right, break and drive progression. This is at one of my previous schools, but what we do, and I only do this drill like once in the summer, once in the spring, and probably once beginning of fall camp. I have all the guys line up. I tell them, all right, we're going to be in a left foot lead. So they get in the left foot lead stance, knowing that we're breaking to the right. So I teach T-plant. All right. So what I have them do is they get in that left foot lead stance. I give them a command of go. Every kid should be picking up their left foot right now, turning it at an angle within the framework of their body, planting their full foot in the ground, all right, and then replacing it. So it's just getting muscle memory, muscle mechanics of them understanding how we want to break when we break to the right. So the next progression of this would be one sound, 2 steps. So now they're picking up that left foot, turning it, putting it in the ground, and they're picking up their right foot, which would be their lead foot to the break, picking that up and taking a step. So it's 1 command, 2 steps. So it's go, and then it's left foot, right foot. Go, left foot, right foot. Go, left foot, right foot. And then we'll put it together for a full break. So now it's 1 command, 3 steps. So they're picking up that left foot, trying to get it turned, put that whole foot in the ground, all right, which would be their plant foot. And they're going to pick up their right foot, turn that toe pointed the direction that they're going, which would be a 45-degree angle to the right, and then drive that finish leg through. So this kid right here in the front is doing a really good job as far as what we're wanting out of that drill, finishing through, driving that left leg up. So you can see he gets that foot turn, he gets the whole foot in the ground, he gets that lead foot, that right foot, and that toe pointed to the direction he's going, and he's driving that left foot up. The thing you want to try to get kids to avoid doing is planning with this left foot here, and then if they're going like we're going to their right, picking up this foot, and I call it a negative break, replacing it behind their left foot. So if they're doing that, that's obviously a negative break. It's taking 1 step, 2 steps away from them driving to the man that they're playing. But if they can at least keep this right foot where it's at and roll over, or be able to pick it up and point that toe the direction you're going, they're going to be gaining ground. All right, so now we'll transition this drill or that technique into what we call rapid fire. So this rapid fire drills, we have a defensive back on each side of me. All right, this kid is in the left foot lead, and he should be planting with his left foot every time. This kid is in a right foot lead. He should be planting with his right foot every time. I only have him break 3 times. You can have him break however many times you want. And what I do is I've gotten away from using sounds and whistles and actual drills that we do where guys are having to read. Either I or have a GA simulate being a receiver. And so the DB now is looking at the hips of either me or the GA, knowing when to break. And so now that gives them used to playing a receiver and seeing a receiver hips drop and knowing when to break. And so what I have them do is they start back pulling, my hips will drop, they'll break and drive, they'll come back to the line. As soon as they get back to the line, they'll start their pedal on their own, and we'll repeat it 3 times. So the 3rd time, they're just finishing all the way through. Sometimes I have them finish all the way through. The first guy will grab the ball. There'll be 1 ball. The first guy there will obviously grab the ball. Or like here in this picture, I have 2 GAs here. They're throwing a ball to the guy to their side. And the thing you obviously, because it's a 0-degree break, they're coming straight back down. You want to get those guys when they break to try to keep those hips square and those shoulders square. And I always tell my guys, have the weight of your shoulders over your knees when you backpedal and when you transition. That way, when you start the transition coming forward, you're going to be falling forward and bursting out coming forward. If the weight of your shoulders are behind your knees, typically guys get on their heels, and that's when they fall on their butts when they go to transition forward, or they pause. All right, triangle drill. The drill what we'll do is we'll have these defensive backs square toes on the line. It's usually about, when I start off, I put it about probably 3 yards. As we get better, I'll try and move it out to 4 to 5 yards. And so what you're doing is you're having, as you can see, there's 4 different ways you can do it. I believe this one is open left, finish left. So that's all you're doing on the command. He's going to speed turn or pivot on that right foot, drop that left, open to get to this line here, that 15-yard line. Once I see his left foot touch that 15-yard line, I'm tossing the ball out. And so now that kid has to understand, okay, I got to transition my ass out of this break to be able to get my eyes, chin, and hips back around to make a play on the route. And so now this obviously gets them going to burst and run through the ball to finish routes. So like I said, we'll go open left, finish left, open right, finish right. We'll go open left, finish right. So that means now the kid is speed turning, and then open right, finish left. So here's an example of the actual drill. So this one is open left, finish left. So as you can see, as soon as his left foot plants on that line there, I'm tossing the ball up. And these guys have gotten conditioned to, as soon as that foot plants, they're getting their head around, they're bursting out, and they're driving that. Here he's driving that right foot up to gain ground and not have a negative break. And as these guys get better, what you do, like I mentioned, you can start moving these cones, their start marker, further away. So here's an example of the drill transitioning or translating to one-on-ones. So the receiver opens up his hips because he's playing scooch. He feels the guy's running vertical. And then he sees those hips drop. So now he's planting that right foot to start transitioning back down to finish the route. Now he needs to shoot his hands out, obviously, and catch the ball. Here's a look at it in game clip. And this isn't man coverage, this is zone, but it ends up working out to where, since we've done those drills, he's a thirds player. They happen to be running a comeback, but he's able to plant that right foot and start to transition back down. So it'll be no different than him going open right, finish left. Here we go again up top. So the kid runs up his toes. He feels the cushion's eating up, so he's opening up. He sees that he drops out of the route. So now he's able to plant that left foot, start coming back down tight inside that cone, 45-degree angle, and finish on the receiver for a pass breakup. All right, shoulders and hands drill. This is a drill this is another one of the other drills that we do before practice. You know, as you start to get in the season, for us at least, you'll start losing individual, but we do this because, again, our defensive backs, because we play man coverage, get in this position a lot as far as their eyes away from the ball. And so this drill, this first picture here, the inside guy is the DB, the outside guy is the receiver. And like I mentioned to you guys before, we read that inside shoulder to know if the guy's going to open up and it's going to be a back shoulder, or if the ball is going to be thrown vertically. And so what we have is, I'll give a command of run. And so these guys will be stationary, just sitting there, but they'll be acting like they're running. So their arms will start pumping. When I say ball, the receiver all these guys are working independently. So the receiver has the option to either show like it's a vertical catch or open up his shoulders like it's going to be a back shoulder fade. Now, what we do is, I will teach the defensive back to reach with that inside hand to go under the first arm and far for that, and on top of that far arm. That way, again, if he's trying to catch that ball, he's going to have to catch it with his inside hand and get his thumb turned over. And I feel it's a pretty difficult catch for him to make. But if we just pull down either both of them or we reach for that inside arm, then that's all you're doing is pressing the ball back into the receiver. So we try to get under that first one and get over that second one. If he turns back to us, we want to try and split both of those hands. So here's a pretty good picture of it here. As you can see, that DB is getting under the first, over the second. And so here's the drill in action as far as film. As you can see, it's a low tempo drill, but if you do this over and over and over every single day before practice, it becomes a habit. Here we are in the game, and what I'll do is actually go to the tight, so you get a better clip of it here. It'll be the defensive, he'll be over here. So as you can see, he's running vertical with them. He knows right now that ball is going to be thrown in front. So he knows that receiver's hands are going to be shooting in front. So he does a good job of getting that left hand up now. And he gets it up there late, but he splits the hands and reaching for that far hand to make the ball incomplete. The defensive back will be to the right as we see it. And so here, I believe it might be, the kid's opening his shoulder. So as he opens up his shoulders, he knows the ball's going to be back shoulder. And so what we teach, again, is we see that shoulder open, we're going to work back through the man and then start tracking back to where the ball's coming from with our eye progression. And he starts to do that, and the ball's not there yet. So he actually finds the ball. And so now he's able to rip with that right hand to dislodge the ball from the receiver. All right. So again, this is another step of working those shoulders and hands. Now we have the defensive back on his knees facing away from the receiver. The guy who's standing up is the receiver. So it's the same thing. I'll say run, I'll say hands, and they'll shoot their hands. They'll shoot their hands in front of the guy, like right over top of his head, or they'll go to the side. And now the defensive back, when he hears hands, his job is to flip his head straight up to find the receiver's hands to split them. So here we'll do it to where this simulates a lot of fade balls in the red zone here. This picture where the defensive back gets in front of the receiver, because what I've taught my guys is you want to try to get belly to belly on a receiver in the red zone. All right, especially when his shoulders opens, so you can try to take away space and take away air for the ball to be completed and split them. So here's an example of it here at the bottom. I think the tight is probably a better picture of it. So he'll be to the left over here. So he gets in a position right now where that shoulder opens. He opens up with the shoulders, and you can see that receiver's hands comes up, and he's doing a really good job of splitting those hands. So obviously the ball can't be caught. All right, so fade drill. This is a drill that we'll do, and I think Coach Pope talked a little bit about this. And his deal is we will have we'll have a receiver or DB simulating being a receiver. The ball will already be in that guy's hands, and it's very similar to kind of what you've already seen. So here up top, we're showing a back shoulder fade. So that receiver is jumping up. He's opening those shoulders. DB is doing a great job of getting belly to belly, placing his hands inside of the hands of the receiver, and then splitting them and opening them up as you see. At the bottom, this is a vertical catch, so that receiver's shoulders aren't opening, so the DB knows the ball's going to be thrown in front. So now, as you can see, he's trying to reach to get under the first and over the second in the red zone. And so here's a drill in live action. It's a pretty good first rep of that DB seeing those shoulders open, seeing those hands shoot up, and then him getting his hands inside of those to split them. That's a terrible job. It's a pretty good job here of this kid. And the kid in the blue his shoulder was hurt, so he couldn't be as violent as other guys. So here we go. Some game film. Defensive back's reading the shoulder. Shoulder never opens. He gets in a position where he's in phase. And when we talk about being in phase and looking for a football, we always tell our guys to look straight up for a ball, especially in the red zone, because if his shoulders don't open, that ball is being thrown high and outside. And if he were to look back for the ball, all right, that ball's going to go right over his eyes or over his helmet. He's not going to see it. If he looks straight up, he'll see that ball dropping into where the receiver's hands are. And as you can see, like Coach Pope's guys, kid does a good job of reaching with that inside hand and reaching for the far hand. And I think he's doing a really good. I think he was holding the guy's inside arm with his right arm, which is pretty good. All right, here we got a kid who opens up his shoulders. And so the defensive back was actually in a dominant position. The receiver opened up his shoulders. He opens up the shoulders with him. And as he transitions his eyes back through the receiver to up for the ball, he puts himself in a position to intercept the ball. But this kid had poor hands, so he didn't catch the ball. The kid, I think, should have had like 8 interceptions his senior year. He dropped all of them. It's the same deal where he's in a dominant position. Receiver opens up 2, opens that shoulder up. So he opens up with the shoulder to play back through the receiver to where the ball's coming from. All right, wipe and replace technique. Again, this is a drill that we'll do before practice, and we're in a vertical position. And as you guys who are defensive back coaches, you know, receivers are going to try and push off. So we work a drill so our guys never have an excuse of he pushed me off. And again, it becomes second nature for those guys. So it's set up like the shoulder and hands drill, but we give them a little bit more space. So right now, the guy who is inside on the greens, a defensive back, or no, he's a receiver. And the other guy is the defensive back. And so what we have is, let's take this picture here. The receiver is going to put his hand on to push off. The defensive back is what we're going to do what we call wipe and replace. He's going to clockwise wipe that hand down and then step to him, as you can see, step to him to replace his body back in position to get body presence on that receiver. So just like the other guys, I'm saying run, so they're pretending they're running. I say hands. You can see the guy right now who is on the white, so out of bounds is the actual receiver. And these guys here are doing a really good job of the drill. So he's putting his hand on him. And with this, he's going clockwise with his hand motion as far as a wipe off, and then stepping towards that receiver to replace his body back into him to get that body position that we want on that receiver. So here we go in one-on-ones of the rep. He gets in position right here, and you'll see right about there, the receiver's trying to push off. DB is wiping that hand down. Sorry about that. DB is wiping that hand down and replacing his body back into him to take away the air and the space for that receiver to catch the ball. All right, guys, that's pretty much it that I have on man coverage. Definitely willing to take any questions that you guys have. This is my contact information. Like Paul mentioned, I'm the defensive pass game coordinator here at SAM. I coach the corners and nickels. There's my cell number. You guys can call or text me whenever you want. A Twitter handle, email. If you DM me on Twitter, I probably won't look at it very much. I'm not going to get it. But if you email me or text me, I would say text me or call me if you want to talk about anything.
That was awesome, Coach. Appreciate you jumping on and doing that. Does anybody have any questions? Just go ahead and unmute yourselves and ask away.
Hi, I've got a question.
Go right ahead.
Hi, so really like the technique about kind of like the shadowing and not going straight into backpedal or opening up. But a lot of the athletes that we work with, they're brand new rookies to the sport. They don't really know a lot about like watching film or reading receivers. So would you teach the complete rookies that technique because like your philosophy, or would you go more to the style of either backpedaling or opening up first?
Well, for me, I teach that technique because I believe in it and we've had a ton of success with it. Now, my young guys, they will struggle with it initially. So I tell them, like, when we're competing, doing one-on-ones and doing team stuff, if you want to because I teach backpedal too. If you want to backpedal until you get comfortable in drill work to start playing scooch. But I try and get them to do it as much as they possibly can so they can get comfortable and confident with it. Because if you just tell them, if you don't teach it or allow them not to do it, and if something you actually believe in, then they'll never get good at it. If that makes sense.
Yep, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Just go ahead and unmute yourselves. Ask away. I think that's it. Well, thanks a lot for jumping on, Coach. That was awesome. It was nice seeing all those drills.